Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am super excited to be back and filming. I was off on vacation for a couple of weeks, and so sitting here now staring at a camera is like kind of strange, but anyway, that's not the point of this video. This video is going to be a really quick tutorial on how to achieve this very simple but kind of vampy fall look. Again, I did this video in more of a shop my stash style, so all of this stuff here in front of me, all of this makeup in front of me is all drugstore products, and it is all products that I've had for a while and enjoy. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing how I achieved this look, feel free to keep watching. So to start out this look, I have already filled in my brows with the Milani Weekend Brow in the color Espresso. I actually usually use medium brown, but I went with Espresso today to go a little bit darker just because as my roots are starting to grow in, I just kind of figure it's nice to like match things, you know what I mean? Okay, so moving into complexion, I'm going to start with Neutrogena's Matte Primer and Serum Shine Controls. This is actually one of my favorite mattifying primers on the market because I feel like it does an interesting job of hydrating your skin and yet also controlling the shine throughout the day. So I just do a little bit on my face. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about in this video too is that Neutrogena products actually tend to be more on the expensive side for like drugstore makeup, if that makes sense. Like a lot of their products tend to be more on that $15 like mark. I think this serum is actually $15 as well. So as a quick reminder to everyone, if you are shopping at CVS, take advantage of their extra bucks, their rewards programs, because that is a really, really great way to save money on drugstore items. So for complexion, I'm going to go ahead and use L'Oreal's Infallible Pro Glow in the color 205. And as I put on my complexion products, I kind of want to talk about why I'm really going to be emphasizing a really more of like a flawless base today. And the reason for that is because I will be going in with a really, really dark vampy lip color. I swatched it on the back of my hand so that I could kind of use it as a reference point. Now, typically for me, when I do a really, really dark lip color, or I'm doing something that really accentuates a certain part of my face or something like that, I tend to want to balance everything out pretty evenly. So for example, when you go in with a vampy lip color, something that's quite a bit darker, generally you want to keep your complexion pretty much as perfect as possible, as perfect and flawless as possible. And the reason for that is because you're drawing attention to your lips and in a way that's like very defined, right? Like people look at your face and immediately they're going to look at your lips. And so what ends up happening is if you don't cover like the blemishes on your face, or you don't cover, you know, the rest of your skin and make everything look flawless, all of those spots, all of that discoloration is also going to get emphasized as well. So anytime you see me rocking, you know, kind of a, well, I don't want to say that I'm rocking anything ever because that kind of sounds weird. But anytime I'm wearing like a really dark lip, or I'm wearing like a really bold eyeliner or a really, really smoky eye or something like that, you'll see that I tend to favor a more full coverage foundation, and I'll really use concealer to kind of block out a lot of those blemishes. Okay, so just even looking at my face now, right? So going with the idea of trying to go for as flawless of a base as possible, I'm going to go ahead and use Infallible Pro Glow Concealer in 02 Creamy Natural, and I'm going to cover up any redness that I have on my skin, any discoloration that I might have, and really ensure, like this pimple right here that's been living here rent-free, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that he's really covered up too. And I just want, again, a flawless base. And instead of buffing the concealer in, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take my foundation brush and really tap this in. So I'm really not moving any of that coverage around. I'm pressing it into my skin to ensure that I'm not taking away any of that coverage. I'm really just kind of pressing and blending into my skin. And we'll come back and do under eye concealer after I finish up my eyes. So generally speaking, when I do a really, really dark, again, vampy look for reference on my lips, I try to keep my eyes as simple and clean as possible, just because I don't want my eyes and my lips to be like competing with each other for attention, if that makes sense. For me, I really like to make kind of one point my center, my focus center, if that makes sense. Center of attention? I don't know.
Centerpiece.
Centerpiece? Is it centerpiece? I guess. All right. So just taking NYX's Pigment Primer onto my lids. So I'm going to go ahead and take this cool toned brown here that kind of goes along with this lip color. One of the things that you don't want to do, especially when you're playing with this much color, is you don't want to mix warm tones and cool tones for the most part. I've seen it work sometimes, but for me, especially when I'm doing something so pronounced like a vampy lip like this, I try to make sure that I'm sticking pretty cool toned for the most part between my eyes and lips, just to give myself a little bit of cohesion? That's a word. Just lightly kind of blending this in. And I'm not going to do very much. I'm literally actually just placing this into my crease and blending it out with windshield wiper motions. And now we're going to go in with a liquid liner. I'm using my obvious favorite Physicians Formula liquid liner, and I'm basically going to just do a very, very small winged line. All right, now that wing liner is done, I'm actually going to leave my lower lash line totally blank. What? I know. I said what I said. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and do under eye concealer, and for that I'm going to be using Maybelline's Age Rewind in the color Sand. And I'm really tucking it right into this corner where I have a lot of darkness, and just along the edge here. And with all concealers, I always like to just kind of buff out the edges and then press and stamp in the places where I need the most coverage. So very similar to earlier when I was camouflaging out all of the different like discoloration on my face. Similar technique where I'm really pushing this concealer in instead of like buffing and moving it around. And now that for the most part, now that my base is pretty covered up, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of color back. So the first product I'm going to use is Milani's Cheek Kiss in the color Nude Kiss. And I'm actually going to just take my foundation brush, go directly into the pan, pick up some of that color, tap out some of that so it's really, isn't that gorgeous? And just kind of keep this really on the high points of my cheeks to add a little bit of color back in. So I'm hiding all the discoloration, right? But now I'm adding just a little bit of color back into my face so it doesn't look so stark. And because it's me, and I get oily throughout the day, as you guys know, I am going to go ahead and set down my under eye concealer with Covergirl's Advanced Radiance in the color Creamy Natural. Still one of the best drugstore powders out there. It's super, super finely milled, so it looks beautiful underneath your eye. Never looks cakey or settles into fine lines. All right, and I am going to use powder highlight and powder bronzer. So I am going to just lightly dust a very, very light layer of translucent powder onto my face so that it's easier to blend out just that bronzer and highlight. But I don't want to disturb the blush. Just take it across my forehead a little bit too. And so for highlight, I'm going to go ahead and use I Heart Revolution's Rose Gold Glow. Super, super pretty. I'm going to go in this gold. I'm actually going to mix both shades because they're so nice. This is going to give me an extra highlight, which I am okay with. And for bronzer, we're going to go in with Milani's Silky Matte Bronzing Powder in the color Suntan, which I really, really like. And I'm just going to do a light layer of bronzer. As we go into the fall, depending on what I'm trying to achieve that day, like if I really want to look like I'm hanging on to summer, you know, I'll use a ton of bronzer. But in this case, because I'm embracing the change in season, I'm just going to go a little bit lighter on the bronzer and really just use this to help define my face so that my face doesn't look so big versus actually trying to look like I've been sitting on a beach somewhere for 5 days. So one of the things that I really like about the Milani bronzing powder is because it doesn't have like that reddish orangish tinge to it that I associate more with the summer in terms of bronzers. This one's got a little bit more of a cool toned base to it. So for something like this, it really works well with just ensuring that everything kind of goes together and it's not too like summer inspired. It's a little touch of bronzer, a little bit touch of sculpting, but not like extensive bronzer, you know what I mean? So really, really great product. I'm gonna go ahead and put on mascara and then we will put on our lips and pretty much almost be done with this easy fall look. We're back. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and set down my face now and put on the lip after, mostly just because generally speaking, when you like do a lip like this, I don't know, I like to just set my face first. Okay, so let's get to the focal point of this look. This is Revlon's Colorstay Satin Ink in the color Black Cherry. So when I do really, really dark lips like this, first of all, I'm going to remove the lip balm that I have on right now. I currently am wearing a Milani's Fruit Fetish in the scent Pumpkin Spice because it's the fall. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of push that in, remove that a little bit. And I'm going to start with my lower lip. I'm going to try and stay in camera here so that you can see. It's a really nice applicator because it gives you that shape that makes it really, really easy to get close to your lip line and fill in everything without getting like weird shapes. Like, it's very forgiving, if that makes sense. If you are nervous about using like a liquid lip or anything, definitely go for a applicator that's a little bit more similar to this and that kind of has that pointy top as well. And one tip between me and you as well is that if you are like very shaky, what you can always do is you can take a breath and then let it out, and that will steady out your hand so that when you apply these products, your hand's not like shaking as much. The other thing that you can do too is you can put your elbow on something and apply it that way. Whatever works for you. And because you can tell that it's not entirely even right after that first coat, I am just going to go ahead now and layer a second coat on top of this so that it's a little bit more even. And you kind of have to do that with dark colors. Our dogs are having a lot of fun in the background here while I freak out about putting on a dark lip. And that is pretty much the final look. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this really, really simple, again, a really, really simple tutorial to kind of get a very, very bold look. And just kind of some of the things that I think about when I'm balancing like different parts of my face. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you guys in next week's video. Thanks for watching. Bye! It's a very arbitrary amount of time. Yeah. You know what I mean. So the first product I'm going to use is Milani's Cheek Kiss. So, okay. Oh boy. Oh, it's been a long time.